Right, just real quick, see if there's anything jumps out at me. Unofficial PHP version stats. What's that?
Yeah.
Release his PHP usage statistics.
Wow,
This
PHP 7's got 35% of the market.
All right, let's add that to the stories. We'll add that as news, I guess. I'll throw it on the Trello board real quick. And we'll edit it. Label, we'll call it news. All right. When was this published? Didn't we just look
now.
at this?
This was published just now.
How can you tell?
18 hours ago.
How can you tell?
Where
are you seeing that?
On the front page of Reddit.
Oh, you're looking at Reddit? Oh, yeah, at the bottom it says November 18th. All right, that'll work. We'll grab that one.
The first comment was at 9 in the morning.
That podcast. SQL Workbench. Excuse me. Here's a best PHP IDE comparison. Let's see if Vim's on there. You're supposed to laugh. This is PHP classes. I don't even like this site. Code Lobster? Have you ever heard of Code Lobster?
No, sounds dumb.
What
is it?
I don't know. Some IDE, some PHP IDE. It's the only one on the list that I don't know of.
Sounds really dumb then.
Oh my God, look at this site. This is awesome. This is straight out of 1995 with new images on it.
That's why it's Drupal. Drupal, Joomla, and WordPress.
It supports those CMSs, you dork. It's not what
when
it is.
When you search for Code Lobster, one of the first things it says is Drupal.
I've never heard of Code Lobster. All right, I'm not going to worry about this. I'm not going to worry about that story.
I want to order now. I want to know how much their garbage editor is. $100. It comes with an HTML editor, though.
Well, there you go. It includes front page. Front page included. Dude, I used to rock front page, man.
God, no one ever rocked front page.
I rocked it.
Hot Dog Pro.
That was another good one.
That's where all the real coding went out.
Yeah.
It included the under construction GIFs.
the little signs and the man in the hat and
the dripping blood animations.
That's awesome.
The trails that followed your cursor. I had a client ask for that once.
Fuck, I asked for that once. What are you talking about?
God.
Oh, God. Where is my Hangout? I've lost Hangout. I can't find it.
I'm right here, dude.
I hear you. I don't see you. All right, there you go. I think I'm going to throw you on this screen. Here, does this make sense? Yeah, I guess that's comfortable enough. Okay. You want to rock this? You ready to go?
Yes, let's do it.
Do it. All right. Thomas Rideout.
Eric Van Johnson. What?
Japan Johnson. What? Where did you get that?
I said Eric Van Johnson.
Why am I looking at you on a Friday night?
I've
usually moved on with my life by this time.
I believe you were busy putting up a standing desk all night last night.
I had it put up before I left for a meetup, and my office was just a disaster. I had like enough boxes in my office. I look like an Amazon shipping department or something. I got a standing desk though. I'm not standing.
No, I can see that. It's somewhere in the corner.
No, it's right here. I can lift it. I'm worried to lift it because I haven't done all my cable management yet, so I'm worried that something will come unplugged. Let's do this. Let's do it live. We'll do it live. We're gonna do it live.
This could be the worst. This should be the shortest podcast ever. You should be wearing pants for this.
All the way up. All the way up. Oh, yep, something came unplugged. It came back. All right, check this out. Oh, I gotta change my camera now.
You there?
Oh, I'm here.
I think you might have got your mic there.
That would be a bad thing. Did I get my mic?
No.
Well, you're a dork. I'm seeing levels here.
That's it. Yeah, that's an old bit from when we start recording the show. Haven't used that one in a while.
Oh, this is weird looking. This angle.
We have a special guest tonight.
We do?
John Congdon. Oh, nope. Looks like we lost him. Damn. So close this time.
John, I think your mic's muted, John. John, you gotta unmute your mic.
He'll figure it out.
You work on that, John. Yeah, you work on that. Thomas and I will keep going until you figure that out. The internet's hard. We get it. I'm weird now. I'm weird standing, and I want to put it down.
It's really uncomfortable.
Is it?
Like just seeing it.
Intimidating? I know, man. Let's take a look. It's like, this is my roof. All right, let me put it back down. See what comes unplugged. You gotta see where my cables are. Yeah, I gotta do some cable management this weekend. But yeah, it's a pretty cool little setup.
How much was it?
Oh, I lost both monitors that time. Why did the monitors go out? Oh. It wasn't cheap, if that's what you asked. Yeah, it was. This is a what's it called? A very desk, and it's the whole. I mean, it comes pre-assembled. It's heavy as hell. I think it's like 60 pounds. And you literally just lay it down on top of a flat surface, and it extends up when you want to extend it up. There was nothing to do. The only thing you got to do is you really have to think through your cable management, because you have to have enough slack on the cables to, when you extend up, it extends up. But when you put down, it's not all over the place. So I need to figure all that out. I don't know what I'm going to do there. Oh, I got to fix my camera again.
Yeah, I'm just staring at the beautiful top of your head.
It's probably better than staring at my face, to be honest with you.
It's not much.
So John turned me onto it. He's been rocking the stand-up desk for over a year. I know for sure, because we had the DiegoDev's offices for a year, and he had the stand-up desk in there. So he's been rocking it for a while. He seems happy with it. I used it a couple times today, and it's nice. It is nice to stand up and continue working, but I'll see if I like it or not. So, what have you been up to this week? I know
had a meetup.
You did have a meetup, huh?
I did have a meetup. My last meetup with a good friend of mine, I thought, until I realized he didn't know that it was the last meetup we had together.
Well, to that friend's defense, he forgot that he wasn't going to be in the country for the next meetup.
Yeah, no, I always forget that when I'm going to be out of the country.
Yeah, we did it. We hosted our last meetup together, didn't we?
It's the last of the year. The last of the year, and then our last together. Yeah, for the time being.
Yeah, our Laravel meetup has grown into it's a young adult now. It was not that long ago that you and I were standing outside doing a presentation for the first Laravel meetup on the beach.
Yeah. Throwing a projector onto a piece of butcher paper.
That's right, man. And now look at us. Not much better. We still don't know what we're talking about.
We're still scrambling for a presenter every single month.
I know. I'm gonna talk to Sean over at LaraChat. I'm working with LaraChat a little more to get they do their live stream one. You've participated in a live stream with them a couple times, and they have them all recorded. So I've been converting them to audio and getting them up on iTunes. As a matter of fact, they should probably be up on iTunes by Monday. I have them all loaded up, all queued up on the site and everything. But I'm gonna start talking to Sean and see if there's something we can do with the videos that we have for the San Diego Laravel user group, and kind of start promoting them as, you know, a virtual lug for people who don't have a Laravel user group local to them, and try to kind of get them to go check out those videos and give some exposure to those presenters who take the time and talk Laravel. Because, I mean, the videos are out there. I know Carry.net would like that because they sponsor it, and, you know, they do all the streaming. They're paying for all the equipment. They like to think that people are watching it.
Yeah. So this week we had the Vue.js user group that's starting up here come and present at our meetup, and that was a pretty great presentation.
Did you like it?
I did. I loved it. Well, I was talking constantly, so I figured that was a good indication that I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it so much I went to their meetup the next day, which is where I was last night.
Yeah.
I was actually at their meetup, and it was good. They have a little bit of a different format. They're doing like the hands-on, we're going to build an app every meetup, which I think is an ambitious goal for a meetup. It sounds good in theory, but when you try to do it, after a while, it becomes a lot, especially if you don't have the same people show up meetup after meetup, and you spend the first 15, 20 minutes getting everybody set up again.
Yeah, I ran my study group like that, and we ended up just installing Vagrant on somebody's machine the entire meetup for the first 8 meetups.
Yeah, that seems to be like a common thing that I hear. Ideally, actually, that's a good idea. I should reach out to those guys. So if you're in San Diego and you like Vue.js, check out meetup.com for San Diego Vue.js meetup. Joel and Art are organizing it, and they're doing a great job. They work at Twisted Elves. Have you ever heard of Twisted Elves?
I heard it. Well, yeah, because they were presenting from it on Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, we're doing
the ugly sweater company.
Yeah, exactly. They were on Shark Tank, and they specialize in. I don't know if I said it was ugly sweaters yesterday. I thought about it. I'm like, I might have offended them. I mean, maybe they'd like to be called goofy Christmas sweaters, but they're these crazy, Chris. They do other things as well, but Christmas sweaters are their big thing.
It's stuff for ugly Christmas sweater parties. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So they were hosting the Vue.js meetup in their offices, which I'll tell you what, downtown San Diego has got some really cool spaces for offices, and they have one of the nicer ones that I've been to. But I need to reach out to them and make the suggestion, if they're going to keep doing projects at their meetup, they need to qualify the meetups with a prereq of things to install. Yeah. So say, hey, you have to have Node installed, have Vue.js installed, blah blah blah, or something like that. That would probably be helpful for them. I need to remember to do that. I'll make a note of that. Oh, what else you been up to? You're working on a pretty big project. How's that going?
Oh my god. So I was signing out today, and my boss says, hey, just so you know, we might be deploying it this weekend.
This weekend?
Yeah. Well, it's either this weekend or it's Thanksgiving weekend, so come on, man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You cannot win with this effort, can you?
No, it's going okay. I've switched tasks on it. Things have sort of boiled down to the last bits and pieces of bugs, and so I'm switching over to a different part of the project. And it's nice to be off the thing you've been on for 2 or 3 months now.
Oh
So
man,
take that break.
yeah, it can be a grind, right? I mean,
Yeah,
everybody,
really
everybody,
burn you, really burn you out.
yeah, yeah. They're so it's not always the glory, right? I mean, we're
No,
talking about earlier. We were reading that article on is there burnout in the PHP? Is burnout in the PHP world real?
well, that was my statement on it. I was reading several articles about burnout. One today specifically about fighting front end fatigue. And
Mm-hmm.
burnout is this kind of thing that everyone knows what it is. Burnout is well established. Um, but I just sort of sat there and thought about it. It's like, do I, I'm working back end PHP, purely back end. I don't really deal with burnout in the same way that I know game developers do.
Really? You don't? Well, yeah, yeah. Well, their development cycle is a lot more intense than yours is too. But
Yeah,
I know even for myself, I mean, it's fun figuring out, solving the puzzle, figuring out how the pieces go together, maybe implementing new practices and seeing how they work. But when you have a code base that's 20,000 lines of code, 18,000 lines of it is just going to be a grind of just
yeah,
coding.
yeah.
So
And
it's
if you're maintaining a dumpster fire, then it's going to be unpleasant the whole time.
exactly, yeah.
Well,
How do you deal? How do you
this
deal with
article
your
is
burnout?
uh, this article is interesting because it focused on front end burnout and really made an argument that front end development has a much higher burnout ratio, just because of the amount of stuff that you need to know and how quickly the things involved in front end development keep moving. Um, you know, just the last month, Yarn was introduced to replace npm installs, and it seems like every week there is a new technology that you need to know so that the browser that you don't want to support can render things properly. And I mean, even Vue.js, they were talking about at the meetup, they were talking about having to shiv uh, control into older browsers so they could still run their Vue.js SPA apps on IE 8 or 9 or whatever they were at. And then there's also the fact that people like you and I are running meetups and doing the podcast, and John, for example, writing for PHP Arc, and like we've put a lot on our plate. Uh, I don't know. I don't have too much of burnout on me though. I mean, I work from home. When I need to take a break, I can just take a break. I don't have to go for authorization from somebody. I have this week worked some like 16-hour days, but it wasn't something that really grinded me down. It was just something I was going to have to do a couple days once a year.
Mhm.
You know, do you have you had severe burnout, or what'd you do?
What did I do? I think I
You
just
just you killed the elephant.
I did kill the elephant. We're still streaming live though. I got messages going off here. Hold on one second. Well, I don't know if this live stream is going to keep going or not.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Well.
You can apologize to Carolyn in person.
Well, what happens if I jump back in? We're in there. Let's see. Join. Elephant's back.
Woo! Oh, but now you're feeding through that mic. There
No,
you go.
I got it. Still broadcasting. All right. Let me make a note to fix all of that, you jabber. All right, let's pick it up.
So I've had situations where I put down the mouse and keyboard and went and played video games for 15 minutes just to get myself out of it and moving. I don't know. What do you have you had burnout?
Yeah, I don't know if that's burnout though, Tom. I mean, I do feel like I've had burnout. I mean, I've had days where I've needed to step away. I guess that's a form of burnout, but to me, burnout is something that like kind of builds up over time.
I've heard that called brownout.
Okay, all right.
So the precursor.
I'll go with that. Yeah. Yeah, to me, burnout is when you're waking up in the morning, you're like, oh, God, I'm still working on this project. I need to finish this. All of a sudden, we're done. And I've definitely had that. I don't know, man. I don't really have a good way of dealing with it. I think the best way I deal with it is I like to surround myself with people I know, friends, people like you, people like John, and, whether it's me venting or just, wanting to talk about something else besides coding. I think that's probably how I handle it. But yeah, I really try to be conscious of when I feel burnout coming on, because it could be, it's like depression. It's like being in a depression. It's once you're in it, it just seems like you're never going to get out of it.
Yeah,
I like to ride the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, the motorcycle I think is probably my go-to, because when I ride the motorcycle, there's two activities that I do that I feel like I unplug when I do it. Riding the motorcycle is one where when I'm on the bike, I don't think about anything but riding the motorcycle, because there's just so much going on. You got to be so aware of everything, and it's kind of the same thing when I go shooting guns. One of our clients actually is a trainer with guns, so I've been taking him out, or he's been taking me out, I guess, and showing me some good techniques of shooting. And I just love that focus, that concentration I get when I don't care how hard of a problem I'm trying to solve at work. When I have the firearm in my hand and I'm looking down range, that's the only thing I'm thinking about. So that's one of the ways I kind of handle it.
Definitely sounds like tasks that need your full attention.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, guess what I did today?
Is it gross?
Well, I did a couple gross things today, but not what I was going to share with you. I'm not going to overshare. I bought my tickets to Laracon.
Oh my God, you're going to New York?
I'm going. Well, I bought my tickets to Laracon. I went to secure a hotel, and it's like a night's stay in the hotel is going to cost just as much as the conference. I'm struggling with that one, but I need to lock down hotel too. I'll probably do that next week. But I have my ticket.
You can stay in the hotel owned by the President of the United States of America, though.
Oh man,
that's pretty cool. I mean, if there's a theory that theoretically it's cool, whatever.
I was thinking about something earlier today, and I'm like, what was I thinking about? And I'm like, damn, that and Donald Trump as president, this world is going crazy.
The Mets.
The Mets? The Mets? What are you talking about, the Mets?
Well, that's winning the series.
Oh my God, dude. What am I going to do with you? I would almost be upset about it if I think the thing that upsets me the most is I know you're not a sports fan, so the fact that you got that wrong because the sports reference, is acceptable, but I do know you're a movie buff, and the fact that you can't remember the movie reference is kind of infuriating. It was the Cubs. The Cubs won
it's a
the
talent.
series.
The Cubs won too? I didn't think two teams could win. It's like an East versus West thing.
They have two baskets, so it's just a matter of scoring enough touchdowns, and everybody gets a goal, and we all go home happy. It's the year of the millennial. Nobody loses, everybody wins.
Says the person who's handing out the "We're sorry you didn't win" trophies.
What are you talking about? I don't hand those out. What do you mean?
It's the millennials. I love people complaining about the millennials when they're the ones raising the millennials and giving them the trophy.
Oh, we are definitely raising a couple of millennials, that's for sure.
Oh, yes.
Despite our best efforts.
Yeah, there's no stopping it.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Laracon. That's the plan as it stands right now. I have my conference tickets. I just need to take out a small home loan to pay for travel and hotel.
New York, though, I mean, aren't you sending the wrong message, seeing as he didn't bring it to San Diego? You're saying it doesn't really matter that much?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should take one of those like rich people approach and just buy like all the conference tickets and just not go. Just have like an empty conference. We'll just own like 300 of the tickets. I'm pretty sure my company would go for that.
Be an interesting way to put our mark on the community. If the Laravel user meetup bought all the tickets and didn't let anyone attend.
Oh man, that should be. I should start a GoFundMe, or what was the Indiegogo one?
A go screw yourself.
Whatever. Yeah, GoFundMe page to raise money for the San Diego Laravel user group to buy all the tickets to Laracon 2017. God, I'd be the most hated guy in the Laravel community and the most loved. It'd be just the weird thing.
It would.
Oh well.
It would really divide people.
It would. It would separate people, thinking that trying to be in different groups. What do you call that? Tribalism.
Tribalism.
I read an article this week.
So I think our segues would be better if we could keep a straight face.
I just can't. It's like when I hear you try to segue into something, I'm just like, what is this guy? He tries so hard. He's just so obvious about it.
Yeah.
Tribalism. Can frameworks lead to tribalism among developers?
Yes.
What is your opinion?
Yes.
Yes.
To me, that's a duh statement.
Obviously it does. Just like there's tribalism amongst platforms, PHP, Node. I mean, I think if you look at the core, before we dive down this tunnel, I do want to point out, was it on this podcast or the LaraChat podcast where we were encouraging people to never call themselves Laravel developers, but to call themselves PHP developers who specialize in Laravel, if they really want to focus on Laravel. You should never tie yourself to such a niche market when you're in the PHP industry, right? Because these things come and go too quickly. I think WordPress developers are most guilty of that. There's WordPress developers who will straight up tell you they're not PHP developers. They don't know PHP. And I'm like, oh, that's not
I
a
wouldn't
good
call them wrong,
statement.
though. I mean, I've met some
No,
WordPress
I agree.
really should be handling PHP.
And it wasn't until I talked to somebody who did WordPress development and had them explain it to me how that was even possible that I started to get my head around it. But yeah, I do think that when you buy into a framework, it does create some tribalism, and I think there's some good reasons behind it. The biggest reason is money, right? Because if you're making a living off of doing Laravel framework, then you want everybody to agree with you that the Laravel framework is the best framework. Sure. Or if you'll have a huge application. You work for a big enterprise company and you have a huge application deployed on the Symfony platform. Well, you don't want anybody ever challenging whether or not Symfony is the correct answer or not, because you've invested 8 months of development cycles to build this magnificent CRM, and anybody who questions whether or not Symfony was the correct framework to use for that is, is
jerk.
a threat. Yeah. So I do think it happens. I think your good developers will rise above it, and I think those are the ones that you have to look for, because
I think there's a point where PHP and you start moving into further niche branches of PHP, which is Symfony, Zen, Laravel, Yi, all of those, and there are a lot of jobs out there that want you to be an expert in a niche component, and to do so can take 2 years of your life. I've been doing the Laravel thing now for 2 years, and it's just been Laravel development, nothing else. So
yeah.
I have expertise in Laravel. I haven't done my 10,000 hours or whatever have you, but I am an expert in Laravel, and to call myself a Laravel developer says two things. It says I am a PHP developer and a Laravel developer. I am a PHP expert and at least using Laravel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But then, you do have things like WordPress where you don't have to know PHP to use it, and that can be a problem.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll post to those articles in the show notes. Should we jump into some news?
News, I love news.
There's not a whole lot of PHP news out there.
No, but boy, my doom and gloom's all filled up. I'm ready for it.
Are you queuing up more doom and gloom? Because I knocked one of them out.
I've only got one piece.
Okay, because there was another one in there earlier. You don't even go check, do you? I actually put the other one in. I ended up knocking it out.
Nah, I paste stuff in here while I'm drunk. Eric, I hate this.
So you work for a company. You guys all have your established ways of communicating with each other. Internally, we're a consulting group. So internally, we have our established ways of talking to each other. But what becomes a problem is when we try to reach out, our potential clients reach out to us, or we try to reach out to clients. There's always that awkward time of trying to standardize on, okay, how are we going to talk to each other? What are we going to use? And it was always kind of, okay, do you have a Skype login or a Google Hangout login, or do this login or that login? And you had to find out, who had accounts on which platforms so everybody could jump onto a meeting. And it was kind of a pain in the ass. But believe it or not, Skype to our rescue. You can now Skype with somebody, and that other person doesn't need to create an account. You just send them an invite, or you actually just send them a link, which I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to send them a link if you're trying to communicate to them on Skype. I guess, okay, you email them a link. Let's say that. You can email them a link. And even if they don't have a Skype account, they click on the link and they can get into a conversation with you. I thought that was kind of cool. And another one of those Microsoft things is like, all right, Microsoft, what are you doing here? They and it's only available in the web version of Skype. I guess you can't use it with the standalone client. And the web version, the web version is what a lot of people are using now, especially in our group, because we have a lot of people on the Linux desktop who say that this new web-based Skype is pretty decent.
Looks like they also have support for their real-time Skype translation stuff.
Yeah. Microsoft is, they've been on the ball lately, and they're kind of parlaying it in our news segment here, because our next card's going to be on Microsoft as well. And this weird this was the other thing that happened. Oh my God. Donald Trump is president, and Microsoft has become a platinum member of the Linux Foundation. What world are we living in right now? How crazy is this? And Larry Khan is in New York City. This is just craziness.
Yeah. Now, this caused a lot of conversation on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people remember Microsoft's dark days. Do you know about Microsoft's EEE campaign?
EEE campaign doesn't sound familiar to me.
It was originally a term by the U.S. Department of Justice, but Microsoft used it internally for describing their strategy for product markets.
Mm-hmm.
And it stands for Embrace, Extend, and Extinguish. You basically, hug them, help them out, and then kill them.
Smother them.
And so there are a lot of people who see Microsoft joining the Linux Foundation as step one of the EEE philosophy. Mm-hmm. And it does have a lot of people concerned. Coming in as a platinum member means that they're going to have some weight to throw around. They're putting a good chunk of change out there. So
now I tried to verify this. I believe they were already part of the Linux Foundation. I don't think they were platinum members. I think the big deal right now is that they've become platinum members. But if I'm not mistaken, and I tried to search it real quick before the show, and I couldn't track it down. So maybe I'm wrong on this. But I think they may have already been members of the Linux Foundation. It's not in the article that I posted. I read through that a couple times.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I definitely know that it's got people worried, and I don't blame them.
I have a hard time trusting them, that's for sure.
I tell you, Microsoft hasn't really issued a statement as to why all this change is happening this year. With open sourcing PowerShell, including the Bash shell, and now giving money to the Linux Foundation. Why? Where is all this coming from? Is there a new direction in Microsoft that just they're not talking about?
Right. We even we're goofing around and theorizing a little bit, and I mean, it wasn't that long ago, as far-fetched as it may sound. It wasn't that long ago where Apple made a complete shift in their operating system and went to BSD as their underlying core.
You're talking about my speculation that Microsoft is working on a BSD-based operating system.
Yeah. And that sounds completely nuts. But why? Why does this sound nuts? I mean, their OS has stagnated. They've tried to push it forward. They're having trouble doing it. I don't know.
They're losing shares in the server market.
Yeah.
They're losing shares on their virtual studio platforms.
I don't think it's as crazy as some people might believe it to be, because
now, to be fair, one of those people was you.
No, I agreed with you.
I thought you pointed and laughed.
No, not negative, sir. Negative. I actually agreed with you. I thought it was a very real possibility. So we'll see. 6 months from now, when we're sitting here saying, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, Microsoft today announced MicroBSD.
All 100 of you guys will be at the cutting edge of technology theory.
Put that on your resume. Talk about how you guys knew about it for everybody else, because you listen to this podcast right here.
That's right. Laravel News.
Oh, God. Why did I bother?
Is that not the name of our podcast?
You're killing me. You can't fault people for not listening to us when you don't listen to us, okay?
I do listen to us.
Whatever.
I tried really hard.
How's PHP doing?
Pretty good. Hey, Eric, what version of PHP are you running?
I'm running quite a few versions of PHP right now. I have a few 7s, a few 5.6s. I have finally migrated off of my 5.3, which I was very happy. We just did that a couple weeks ago. So I think I'm on 5.6 and 7 everywhere.
Well, you sound like everybody else, because as of a new study on PHP usage statistics that came out today. Glad we delayed recording here a day. Yeah.
We're like cutting edge news, man. It's practically real time.
5.6 is currently dominating the market with 37.5% usage. But this is surprising to me. PHP 7 has 35% of the market right now.
Why is that surprising? You think it would be higher or lower?
I would think it would be lower. I remember when 5 came out, and you were looking at very little acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took a long time for people to start migrating into 5. And, you know, with 7 being as bleeding edge as it is, I just didn't expect to see this significant of an acceptance. Now, there is a lot of speculation that the new Ubuntu LTS version has bumped up 7.0 usage since it came with 7.0 by default.
Does it? Does the new LTS come with 7.0? Because I just did a Ubuntu LTS install, and I was surprised that I had to upgrade the PHP. I'm not sure. I assume you're reading that in the article, huh?
I am reading that in the article.
Directly. Okay.
I do not do my own fact checking of any kind.
That's interesting because I was actually about to say that I can see that number jumping up significantly over the next 6 months as the images in places like DigitalOcean, that those images that are available for people to spin up servers start coming with PHP 7. I just spun up a server in DigitalOcean. I just spun up a VPN server, I think, about a month ago, and that still had 5.6 on it, which I was surprised to see. So, yeah, cool stuff. Now, do you know if things like vagrant machines count towards this?
This is all counted out of packagist logs.
Right.
So this data here is just the last 28 days through packagist.
So yeah, this would include things like vagrant installs and people's laptops and things like that.
Yeah, but because people are using packagist to mirror their deployments on their production servers, I would say that the numbers are not reflective of reality, but the percentages are. Does that make sense to you? So if you've downloaded the same thing on packagist 100 times and deployed it once, it's basically the same for everybody else too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think the hard work those guys did when releasing PHP 7 and having very little backwards incompatibilities, I think speaks a ton to what you're seeing as far as the adoption goes. That and the fact that, you know, with around 5.5, 5.6, PHP really got a resurgence of new blood and people getting interested in PHP again, and, you know, right at the right time they released 7. Whereas, okay, well, you're going to get involved with PHP. Why don't you start here?
Right, and you know, I remember when the last major version came out, unit testing wasn't that big of a thing. You didn't see people running Travis CI and things like that. So now, with all these frameworks that are out there being developed, the ability to say, running your test quickly, and say, oh yeah, we're 100% PHP 7 compatible, allayed a lot of fears.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm betting that it's just going to keep going up and up. When we see 7.1 hit its official release, hopefully next week, we'll see a big surge in 7.0 deployments.
Yep, I agree. Talking about living in fear.
I wasn't talking about living in fear.
That was the best. That was the best.
You just knocked on my segues.
I just can't do it as well as you.
No.
I'm sorry.
Hey, what do we say every week?
Use a password manager? Oh, shit, that's actually what you wanted me to say.
Yeah. Yeah, use a password manager.
Use a password manager.
Oh,
Yes,
God.
use a password manager. Why?
There's been another. Sorry. This is the doom and gloom minute. We've entered into the dark territory of
Doom
our
and gloom.
podcast.
All
There's been
right.
another large breach, and this time it's one of the biggest adult dating networks out there.
It's always the
The
adult things.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is because boy, the places that should be the most secured seem like they are not trying at all.
And this
Uh,
one was just awful, right?
yeah, the AdultFriendFinder network, which is runs a bunch of different websites under a bunch of different names. It's just a giant conglomerate thing. Um, they got hacked in October, and that ended up leaking out 400 million accounts.
I mean, really, there are 400 million people signed up for that site. Does that site cost money? It must cost money.
This is the classic, just type in your email and we'll create an account for you type situation. You
Uh,
get the free stuff, thumbnails only. But
oh man!
yeah, it turns
Not
out
only were they hacked, not only were accounts taken, but
that all the passwords were in plain text.
what?
I'm sorry, not all. Many were in plain text, which is
So
just
you as an end user,
ridiculous.
you as an end user have absolutely no control over that. You have no way of knowing that the site you're using is storing your passwords in plain text. That is just so goofy.
1 million accounts with the password 123456.
Oh, but some of them got a little bit more creative.
Some of them did get much more creative.
Oh
I was
man.
interested in password limit exceeded :07/1. I'm not sure what error occurred to make that somebody's password.
I tell you what, I don't even know what to say about this. I mean, this is so there are things that when you look back in hindsight, you say, yeah, you know what, maybe that was a bad practice. I know Facebook got busted with this, and it was actually Mark, what's his name?
Zuckerman.
Zuckerman. Yeah,
Zuckerberg.
I believe he's
I
actually the
got you to
one.
say it. I got you to say the wrong name.
I believe he's actually the one who did the code where it took your he took your password and he actually stored it 3 times. He stored it however you set the password. He stored it all uppercase and he stored it all lowercase. And his thinking at the time was, people get confused whether or not cap locks is on or not on, and so he thought he was helping users out. What he didn't realize is he was making somebody's account 3 times more hackable because he's stored 3 separate passwords. That's one of those things where you kind of look back and you say, okay, I thought I was being helpful, but it turns out that was actually a bad practice and I shouldn't have done that. Granted, storing your passwords in plain text, there's at no point is the developer sitting there thinking, oh, yeah, I think I'm being helpful here. I think this is a good idea. There's nowhere should that thought ever cross the developer's mind. I mean, how does that even happen? How does that get through any sort of code review or any sort of planning or any sort of discussion? I mean, how does that happen?
I can tell you.
Do tell.
I know for a fact, for an absolute
Uh-oh.
fact, these websites get developed off the coast. India, Russia, Belarus. They are developed as fast and as cheap as possible, and then they are brought in, and you have essentially 2 people who have the technical knowledge to run the entire system doing it. And then you have an entire office building with 30 or 40, 50 people just doing marketing and graphic arts. But the actual development of the site, started and finished years and years and years and years ago, and no one can or knows how to change anything.
Oh, man, that is horrifying. Horrifying. We should require that, like, when you buy something that says made in, you should require that on a website. Like when you go to sign up, coded in the USA, coded in Canada, coded in Bangladesh, something to allow the person who's using the site to make a decision on whether or not they want to trust that company.
There is some momentum towards that.
Was that racist?
No,
that sounded a little racist.
Nothing's wrong with Canada.
Okay.
There is some momentum towards that. There are higher and higher security certs you can buy that reassure you, in theory, that your HTTPS means that they're storing the password securely, or that they have proper security protocols around their servers. But that's something that's it hasn't taken off, and it's really, people aren't aware of it. If you have a dark green lock icon versus a light green lock icon, do you know what the difference is? Do you notice that you have a lock icon?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to see a change at some point, but who knows when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Could be worse, though.
How's that?
Your cell phone could be spying on you.
I think it is. I wake up sometimes at night and it's like standing over top of me. I'm like, I don't remember. I don't remember putting you on the dresser like that. That's so weird. Yeah. No.
Well, it turns out actually that a researching firm found that.
Hey! What are you doing? Did you
number of cheap Android devices have been sending the contents of all the text messages and location data to China.
You can't sneak in another doom and gloom.
Oh, I certainly can. It's doom and gloom. It sneaks in all on its own.
Oh my god. What are you talking about now? China Android phones? I've never been to China to buy an Android phone.
There are some cheaper Android phones available in the US that came with spyware installed on them that was sending text messages and location data directly back to China.
Yeah, it's called Google Plus. Oh my god.
That's kind of their claim. Their claim is kind of, hey, we're a big data company. Of course we're gathering data. We're not using it nefariously. And it's all above the board. We have disclosures in our 400-page long licensing files. So,
Thomas,
yeah, pretty nasty.
Thomas,
yes,
what
sir.
did we decide? Microsoft is a platinum member of the Linux Foundation. Donald Trump is president of the U.S. of A. The Cubs have won the World Series. The Cavaliers have won the NBA championship. What's going? Laracon is going to be in New York City. I mean, what's happening here? The world is falling apart.
If your feet are cold, it's because hell's frozen over.
That's right. I'm very confused. I'm in a very confused state right now. I'm ranking Laracon 2017 being in New York City right up there with Microsoft joining the Linux Foundation and Trump being president.
I'll want to be there. I'll say Microsoft having the best designed desktop of the year and the best designed laptop lines this year.
I would agree with you on Surface Pro. What desktop are you thinking?
That is the Surface Studio. The 27-inch.
You think that's the really? Why?
That does something new, and it doesn't take away USB ports to do it.
No, it doesn't. But I think their little knob is a little bit as gimmicky as, maybe not as gimmicky as Apple's whatever pad that is, but
lack of ports.
A little maxi pad, no port laptop, sure. But you're talking about the little knob for. I mean, I think it's cool.
I'm not talking
And
about the knob. I'm just
you're not
talking
talking about the
about.
knob?
Oh no. I'm talking about the device itself. A
Nah.
high powered machine running at a double pixel density, so that when you put a piece of paper up to it, it matches it 1-to-1. So your print looks like what it looks like on the screen. HDR resolutions, an incredibly well designed hinge that you can
Is
apply pressure
Microsoft
without it
paying you
shaking
to
all
say
over the
that?
place.
Microsoft sponsoring you that I'm not aware of?
No, but they're welcome to.
I will be their little whore. Just
Oh yeah.
give me.
Oh no. I'll shake my tail for them.
We've talked about them a lot this show, I've noticed. We got to stop doing that. We'll need to change it to Microsoft Ugly. MS Ugly.
Pretty sure that's already taken.
All right, man. Well, I think we've burned through all the news.
We have
It's actually not too late.
height 57 minutes.
I'm liking it. I'm liking where we're at here. I think it's a good time to wrap this up. What do you think?
That doesn't sound like too bad an idea.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. What are we going to do next week? You want to try to do this on Thursday, Wednesday, or Friday?
Hey, whichever one works for you. I'm gonna be available the whole time.
All right. We'll talk about it. We'll do a show next week for the two people listening who look forward to it. Excuse me.
Whoa! Squeaked
threw
one
up in
right
my
into the
mouth.
microphone.
I threw up in my mouth a little bit there when I said that. I'm sorry. Oh man. All right. We're gonna wrap this up for tonight. I'm Eric Van Johnson.
I'm Tom Rideout. Use a password
Keep it ugly.
manager.
Keep it ugly. We're trying to standardize on things here.
Yeah, use a password manager.
All right, I think that was good. That was fun.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording.
All right, I'm gonna kill the stream, and I'm gonna stop recording.